Hey guys, all right, so this is the very first episode of the Pizza Roll Diaries. Of course, I'm the V-Man. Welcome. Thank you all for joining us this morning. And my guest this morning is Randy Wrenn. You guys may have known him from the engineer of Dreadnought Dominion. Thank you, Randy, for joining me this morning.
Glad to be here.
So first off, you have you've done Dreadnought Dominion, but you've done some things on the sides besides Dreadnought Dominion. Can you tell me a little bit about what you've done?
All right. Well, me personally, uh, when I started doing Dreadnought Dominion, my daughter for Christmas that year got me a Groupon for acting lessons, and I went and took acting lessons and did pretty well, I think, and got an agent. And I've been doing what they call like instructional videos that people show to their employees in the office to teach them how to do things better, that sort of thing. And commercials and extra work and all sorts of things like that. I just did a video audition this morning for a commercial for the Georgia Lottery. And so there's that personally. And then within the confines of Dreadnought Dominion, and well, me and Gary, we call what we are, we call ourselves Dominion Media, because we do Dreadnought Dominion, which, you know, we've done 11 episodes now, and we're getting ready to shoot our 12th and 13th. And but there was a dry spell there where we didn't have access to the studio because Vic was using them, and it was his playground. So we did a couple of episodes where we didn't use sets, or not sets in that sense of the word. And while we were doing that, we got kind of bored, and we said, you know what, let's do something else. So I created Star Trek Outlaws, and which is an audio show. And the reason I wanted to do that was because it doesn't take much. You know, it doesn't cost anything hardly to produce an audio show. All you need is a mic and some editing software. And I would write the scripts, send them out, you know, cast out to the actors. They would record their lines, send them back to me, and I edit them together, and then put some visuals with the voice, just so that, because I'd seen some audio productions before, and I just had a hard time getting into them because, you know, it doesn't hold my attention as much as something to look at.
Right. Right.
So I wanted to have something to look at while you're listening.
Well, that's one of the things about audio drama that I've seen is, like, sometimes it's just like moving stars or something, but yours, I've noticed it's got visuals, and that holds your attention better. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to go full-blown animation, because if you do animation, then you fall under the guidelines. If you're strictly an audio, you don't have to conform to the guidelines. You can go an hour long. You can have Star Trek in your name. You can, basically the guidelines are out if it's an audio presentation. At least that's the way I understood it, and I haven't gotten any trouble yet. So I wanted to keep it audio, but I still wanted to give people something to look at. So I have like the ship going across the screen, or each location that the character's in, I try to show what my vision of what that location would look like. And I have something animated in just about every shot, that even if it's a flickering candle, flickering flame on top of a candle, something animated. There was one scene in the one you were in where they made duplicates of themselves before the characters got duplicated. In that one, they were in the office where they bought that contraption from that man. And it was, I found this, actually the picture that I found was a picture of 221B Baker Street. and it was there was the fireplace and the violin, and it's it was Sherlock's pad, and,
Right.
but there was a clock on the wall, and just to have something animated in the shot, I animated the hands on the clock so that they went around, and some flickering flames in the fireplace. Yeah, it's nothing major, but just something moving, some movement in every shot. And so we did 4 episodes of that, and the I haven't done any more for a couple of reasons. One, because the first episode now has something like, I want to say 80,000 hits on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like really a lot in 5 years, like 80,000. The second one has 2/3 of that or something, maybe 50,000, and the next one has like 10,000, and the next one has like 5,000, and it's hard to get motivated to do a fifth one when you think, well, maybe this one's going to get 3,000 over 5 years.
Right.
They just, but most every series there ever was is like that. They start out, and they, even STC, if you look at their views, they had more views for the first episode than the second, more for the second than the third, and so on down to the 10th or 11th. They're still high, but you lose audience.
It's something that's it's something that's brand new that they're not expecting. They're like, oh, I got to check that out, and then they seem to kind of the taper off, and you're like, wait, what? We have the same thing with Melbourne. I think on Shadowstorm Studios, like Jeremy has like just an astronomical amount of viewers for the first Melbourne, and we thought we'd duplicate that with the second one, and with the second one we have like a couple thousand, and it's like, wait, what happened?
Yeah,
Are
it's
notifications on for this?
It's nothing you did. It's just the
No.
way it rolls. I mean, I've seen all kinds of series that if you look at the views, they drop off.
Well, that's why I tell people, I'm like, don't worry so much, especially fan filmmakers. I mean, obviously, if you're doing like videos and that's how you make your money, you should be concerned about algorithms, whatnot. But if you're doing like fan films, and you're just doing it for the love of Star Trek, don't focus so much on the numbers. Just do what you want to do and enjoy it for that, and share it with your friends and family. Eventually it'll get out there to the right people, and they'll enjoy it for what it is. If that's where your motivation is at, because it's such a screwy thing.
Yeah. Yeah, some of our numbers on our more recent episodes are picking up steam a little bit. But the biggest ones we have are those first 2 episodes of Star Trek Outlaws. That's our most popular episodes. Our most popular episode of Dreadnought Dominion is Haunted, I believe it's Haunted. But it's been out for 5 years, so that's another reason it's got a lot of views. I decided I was going to do something else, and I put together a series called What Lies Beyond, and it's kind of it's almost a Twilight Zone fan film.
I was gonna say I've seen that you sent the link. I enjoyed it. I thought that was very cool. A very interesting concept.
And yeah, I'm really proud of those. We had a really great DP. Some really fine actors and actresses, and we put together 4 episodes of that I think are phenomenal. But then again, I'm biased, and but they're not Star Trek, so they don't get the views that the Star Trek fan film stuff gets. Because people aren't looking for them.
Well, that's the thing. Like doing a Star Trek fan film, or a Star Wars fan film, or Batman or Doctor Who. Like anytime you've got that, you've instantly got at least some type of hits, because someone out there is going to type in Batman, and eventually you're going to come up. But when you type in something, like you said your show's name, no one's looking for that. Just like with my films, like the independent stuff I've done, no one's looking for that. So unless you put it out there, and someone someone's like, oh yeah, I'll check it out. You know, they don't know. You could have the best product in the world, but if nobody's looking for it, they'll never know it's there. And that's one of the sad things is like, you know, unless they know name recognition and they're looking at your stuff, you know, and that's why when you passed me the link of the one show, I was like, oh, okay, I'll check it out, you know, and it was great. I was like, oh man, we need more of this, you know, because, you know, good content creators creating good stuff, you know, that's what we need these days. Cause there's a lot of crap out there that it's like, oh, good God, we don't need this regurgitated, you know, but no, it was really good. And you're right. It was in the same vein of like Outer Limits, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, every episode has some kind of weird twist ending, you know. But and some of the actors and actresses I got when I took my acting lessons, I met some people, and then I met some actors and actresses who were also taking lessons, and also there's a group in Charlotte called Charlotte Film Community (CFC), and they had meetings. We haven't had meetings for a while because of COVID, but they did up until COVID have meetings every month. We get together, we watch each other's films that we've done, and have a guest speaker and that sort of thing. And you network there. You know. Also, if you go out and you do extra work, you know, get yourself. Well, you don't really have to get an agent, but you just kind of have to just kind of like put yourself out there. You can get extra work. It isn't that hard. And you go out and you sit around and be an extra on these shows and these commercials and these stuff like that. And you network and you mingle and you exchange information. And then when you get ready and you need an actor or an actress, you know, you've got these struggling actors and actresses out there who are delighted to come and be in your show, even though they know it's not a great big humongous hit on TV or anything, just for the experience. And for the same reason I wanted to go meet them to network. And we've had some awesome people in those shows. And sooner or later, they're going to hit it big and I'll have bragging rights. Yeah, they used to be on my show.
Well, that was when we did Melbourne. Like that was we had met Larry Fleming, and he's one of the most delightful people. You've met Larry, right?
Oh yeah, Larry's.
Yeah,
Larry's
yeah.
cool.
I was gonna say he's on your show. Like, what am I talking
Yeah.
about? And of course, like when we met on Melbourne, and you know, we had you know quite a few conversations. You know, in fact, it was in this room where you know it was back the day when it was you know just my man cave. But you know, we'd talk on the phone, you know, a couple hours, and he would just kind of tell me about his, you know, he did this as a background, he did this as a background, he did this as a, and I was just like, I'm sitting there as a sponge, just like soaking this up, like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Like in my mind, I'm like, you're a legend, you know, you know, so much respect for that guy, because it's just like, wow, what you bring to the table, like that's so awesome, you know.
Oh, I don't know if you've seen the episode of What Lies Beyond called The Avarice Snare.
No.
No? All right. Well, I'll send you a link.
Sure.
Or, you know, if you go to the, you know, the, well, actually, if you go to the Dreadnought Dominion YouTube channel, it won't be there. That's only Dreadnought Dominion. But if you go to my YouTube channel, David Wrenn, you'll find all the What Lies Beyond episodes. And in that, there's one called The Avarice Snare. Avarice, you know, being like the same thing as greed, right? The snare of greed, you might say. That's what it boils down to. Anyway, an old couple finds an Aladdin's lamp and make one wish, and then it's foolproof. There's no way. They know that usually when you make three wishes, that the first one or two wishes go bad, and then the third wish ends up being put everything back the way it was, you know, because everything's turned so sour, you know, because of the other wishes. See, they always backfire. Well, they know this, so they spend like they ask the genie for 24 hours to come up with the perfect wish. And when they do, well, I won't spoil it. But anyway, the lady who plays the old lady mother in that show, her name is Joan Schuermeyer. And if you've ever seen Zombieland.
Yes.
Zombieland, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
In Zombieland, there's a scene where the the two lead guys are going into a store, and one of them hits the zombie coming out with a shovel or a baseball bat or something and says, "That's got to be the zombie kill of the week." And the other one says, "Oh no, that belongs to old lady so-and-so." And they cut to a scene where this old lady is walking down along the side of a building and being chased by a zombie. When she gets to a door, she looks back at the zombie and gives it a little look like, "Okay, I got your number." She opens the door, walks in, the zombie walks up, and a piano falls on her. Well, that little old lady is Joan Schuerman. And she was the lead in The Avarice Snare. And she is an absolutely wonderful, delightful person. Really, she is. But she's one of those that'll sit down and show you her little booklet of photos from sets that she's been on. She was in a Halloween movie. Got killed by Michael Myers.
So those are always the best people to have around, because it's like they got those experiences, and it just gives you that sense of hope of like, man, that's the coolest thing to have.
It's just hang in there, and it'll happen. You know, if you hang in there long enough. Anyway, after Outlaws, Gary had this series that he had written a story called "Who Haunts the Ship," and the beginning of the story "Who Haunts This Ship" was where our first episode "Haunted" came from.
Oh, okay.
It started with the captain and the chief engineer heading out to the ship in a shuttle, just like the first Star Trek movie did. And they go out to the ship, and then things happen. You know, mayhem ensues. And Gary. Frank said, "Randy, I want you to write an episode based on that story." So I started writing it, and I got as far as the captain and chief engineer getting on the ship, and he says, "I'll stop it there. We'll make it a short." And I said, "But Frank, nothing happens. Nothing has happened. They got out to the ship, and that's it." So I thought, I got to have something happen. You know, I can't just have them walk onto the ship. The end. So I thought, and also, we had people coming from all over the country down to Georgia to be on the show. I didn't want them to have no lines. I mean, that seemed crappy to me. You know, I don't want to have people drive all the way down to Kingsland, Georgia, not have any lines, be basically an extra.
You wanted to make it worth their while, right?
Yeah. I mean, it costs hundreds of dollars for gas and lodging and food to go down there. I don't want them to. So I came up, I thought, well, what can I do? I could have them check in, you know, like engineering, all set, sir, you know, communications, all systems go, you know, go around the room like that. But that's boring. So we came up with the idea of every bridge officer was fussing at the captain, you know, cussing him out, you know, screaming at him, and telling him how he had killed all their friends in this attack or gotten them killed, and then it ends up being a nightmare. So that's how Haunted came about. It was supposed to be Who Haunts the Ship, but we stopped early and then had to put a little twist on it at the end. But Gary wanted to do Who Haunts This Ship, so he took a text file of the script and had a computer voice read it. and did the graphics to go with it, along with it, like I did, you know, with Outlaws, and it was okay, but having a computer read the lines. I said computer. My Alexis is so. Having one of those C word things read the lines, it sounds terrible, you know. And I fussed at Gary. I said, "Man, you got to do that with real actors and actresses, you know, doing the voices." You know, so we redid it with actual actors, some of them very, very good actors and actresses, doing the lines, and that is now on one of our sites under the name of. Let's see, what is it? Not Dreadnought Dominion, but Excalibur logs.
Mm.
And yeah, so yeah, there it is. Anyway, so that's all we got. That's all we got. That's Dominion Media. But of course, the biggest thing is Dreadnought Dominion.
I would say that's the kind of flagship of what you
Yeah,
guys have done.
yeah, that's really what it's all about, and the other stuff is just filler. Well, I don't mean to demean it that way by saying it's just filler, but you know what I mean.
It's what you it's like with Leonard Nimoy or Brent Spiner. You know, they've done other things, but
yeah,
they're known for their Star Trek. It's there's no shame in that. It's
yeah,
it's you and I both know it's an honor to do what we've done. You know,
yeah,
we fill those shoes, wonderfully. It's just we enjoy doing other things as well.
yeah. It absolutely is. And think about 20, 30 years ago, what it would have taken to do what you're doing.
Yeah, well, we need no further than to just look at George Cayenne. I mean, he was doing the stuff, holding those huge cameras, that would break our backs.
Yeah,
And he was doing it for, nobody was watching except for just, hey, his friend would come over, hey, you want to watch a film? Okay, that's dedication. I honestly don't know if I would have done it then, because it's like, wow, that's, but no, the day and age we live in today, it's like we have from CGI artists to visual effects people to hell, look at our cell phones. I mean, it's any type of,
and just publishing whatever it is that you shoot.
Yeah,
there was no YouTube. There was no way to publish anything back then, really.
No.
Send each other VHS tapes through the mail or something that, but you couldn't mass publish anything without going to TV and saying, the gatekeepers, and saying, could you publish my series? And
please, sir, please. Yeah.
And they just laugh at you and say, move along.
Right.
Now, to do what you're doing and what we've done is you don't have to be polished with 30 years of experience and extremely expensive software and hardware. And
the first time you, Gary, and I worked together, I was working down in Oklahoma at the sets, at the Starbase Studio sets there. Both you and Gary were on. Well, no, Gary had physical sets in his office, I believe. Because it was Chain of Command. And you were on your green screen, and that, if I'm not mistaken, was the first time that you had three people from two different franchises get together to do one film.
I'm really proud of that.
Yeah, so am I. Like it really set the stage for what is now considered a norm.
Yeah, it's fairly commonplace now.
What's that now?
Fairly commonplace now.
Yeah, it's not unheard of to see you pop up in someone's film, or to see George pop up in someone's film, or Jose to pop. It's it is fairly commonplace, because back in the day when I first started, which was a little over 7 years ago, it was very cutthroat. Like people wanted, no, I'm going to be the top film, or no, I'm going to be the top film, and it's all about me, and it's simply not that way now. Or at least it's not
you might be the pot. Your thing might get 10 times more views than mine, and if so, then good for you.
Yeah, good for you. Yeah.
But I'm going to be out here doing the best I can.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, like the technology that we have, to be able to do something, and that it blows me away that take a Command and Conquer, where Gary, he was able to green screen part of the that hallway that he had there, and then to build his own that chamber, the agonizer booth, just on like no budget, what you guys have done on Dreadnought Dominion,
just faking it.
And that's
Gary is a genius. He's just, I mean, to do the thing, get the results he gets out of what he's got, he's phenomenal.
Well, I call him a prop master, because like that dude, when he looks at something, I mean, it's and the thing is, like, I've still got this and I use it like all the time. You see it in my
Yeah.
films. Like,
Mhm.
this, the dude sent me this just because, and that's the type of guy that he is, the biggest heart, and that's what I love about, Dreadnought Dominion is both you and him. I consider you guys kind of like a package deal. It's like you guys are always like, and I'm like, hey Gary, what do you think about this? Well, let me talk to Randy and we'll see what we can do. I'm like, all right, man,
Mhm.
it's I
Yeah.
got it,
Yeah.
and I love that, you guys have always been the type of people that have been very inviting, very welcoming, but you guys have shot at the Georgia sets
Mhm.
during the Vic years, during the Ray
Um,
years. What's it like? What's it like shooting under the different administrations per se?
it's really not that much different. We shot before Vic when it was Starship Farragut,
Oh, that's
and
right. That's right.
so
Under John Broughton, was it?
yeah. John Broughton was the head of it, and then Michael Bednar. But when we shot Haunted, Michael Bednar was the DP. And
Hmm.
wait a minute, Michael Bednar was the director.
Okay.
I don't know, one or the other. Michael Bednar directed Anchors Away and was the DP on Haunted, I think.
Hmm.
And I could look it up, but something like that. And so Michael Bednar was involved with us on those first two episodes, and then they sold the sets to Vic, and Michael Bednar and Broughton went back up north, and they didn't come down there much anymore. They were going to do a movie era series, I think, of Starship Farragut.
Was it gonna be Farragut Forward? I believe is what it was gonna be
Yeah,
called.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they never really got that going, but they didn't. And now I think it's just pretty much they're out. I think. And I'd love to see them come back, but
Oh yeah.
I think they're just done. And let's see. So then Vic came in, and we did those two episodes where we just used our houses and green screens and Gary's brilliant sets that he made out of nothing. And and you had the where were you shooting on?
That was Oklahoma at the time. Well,
Yeah.
the one chain of command where I'm on the bridge, that was the Oklahoma, because that was before we moved. And then when we moved to Dogpatch, and where we were in the mirror universe, that one was in Dogpatch in Arkansas. So
Yeah, we went up there and looked at it one time, but they weren't ready for prime time yet. We didn't feel.
no,
They were working with a gas powered generator that could only light part of the sets at one time.
yeah,
Part of the
that
bridge. Like
that
if you
was
shoot in this direction, then you light that side, and if you shoot in this direction, you light that side.
that's
And
one of the critiques that I get for when, and I hate it because assholes get on when they watch the film Resistance, where we're running from the Borg, and we get on the bridge and we're like, okay, we've got a museum ship, let's go, let's go. Like that's part of the reason why it's a museum ship, because it's not supposed to be fully powered, and
yeah,
we're trying to
off.
escape, and yeah, exactly, and that's why I wrote it that way, because it's like we only had gas powered, we can only light like one station, like it's very, there's nothing on, and they don't get that. They're like, why is there no power to anything? These guys don't know what they're doing. And I'm like, dude, you're lucky we saw where we were going. It's like people don't realize the pain and energy that goes into making a fan film. And
Yeah.
you of course know what that's like, working on so many things.
It's and living so far from the sets. When several of us live, it's a 5 hour drive for me. It's like a 10 hour, 8 or 10 hour drive for Gary. It's a 3 or 4 hour drive for Victoria. Yeah, it's but there's a group of people, 5 or 6, that live real close, like in Jacksonville and Kingsland, right in that area. And it's great for them. But for the rest of us, it's a big deal just to get down there.
It's a long
And
haul.
I think Gary said one time that it cost him like, I want to say $500, but maybe it was a little less than that, between gas and lodging and everything, to get down there for a 3 or 4 day shoot.
Right.
We're going down there this weekend, and it's that's $150 for lodging. Yeah, that's $150 that I don't really have to spare, but thank goodness I do have it. Even if it's not really laying around with extra money, but it's a big deal.
That's one of those things. Going to back with the Oklahoma sets, or now like when I go to Warp 66 Studios up here in Arkansas, it's only for Oklahoma back in the day it was 4 hours. Now it's a 6.5 hour drive, and usually it's at the end of a work day. So I'm chugging Red Bulls or drinking coffee, and I'm like, oh, gotta stay awake. Better watch out for them deer. Because it's like, I'm continuing my day, and in those cases it's like a 21, 22 hour day, because it's like at the end of a 12-hour day I'm driving 6 hours, so that's already 18.
Okay,
and then, it takes a toll on you. So you have to really choose your shoot dates, and
that's very similar to what we do. And the thing is, you can't just say, well, we haven't got quite all we need, we'll just come back next weekend. Oh my gosh, you can't do that.
No.
You got to plan it, and you got to get everything you need all in that one trip, because it's a big deal to get everybody back together for another day.
Right.
It's not like meeting at somebody's house for a game of cards. It's
Hey, Penny, sorry.
Hold on just 1 second, Randy. Yes, honey.
okay.
So Nate's on his way over. He'll be here close to 10:30.
Okay.
I'm heading to Manhattan.
Sure.
I'm going to hit the school, get that stuff done.
Okay.
And then don't forget, so I may not be in time for you to take my car to get Roy's.
No, I'll take my car.
Okay. Use Bank of America.
Okay.
All right, love you.
I love you too. Drive safe, hon.
All right.
All right.
Oh yeah. Leave the door unlocked for Nate
Absolutely.
when you leave.
Okay. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's just it's a big deal to get there. So you got to make sure you get everything in the one trip, and that's
that's exactly true. Has there been a time where you guys have gone to the sets and then realized, okay, we don't have it? How are we going to fix this?
Not yet. There have been times when we had like 6 more shots to get and 30 minutes left on the clock. We promised everybody we'd leave at noon on Sunday, for instance, and it's 11:30, and we are just flying through. That's close enough. Now go on to the next one, and and it's like Ed Wood all over again. It's just we make that work. We'll fix it.
You don't care if they're blinking through the take or not. You're like, it's good. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, I told Gary that the last one, Red Medusa, I messed up a line, and it took me forever. I had to dub in the right word, because it was really stupid. I mean, it wasn't just like the wrong word. It was a word that made no sense whatsoever, and I had to dub it in, and then when I dubbed it in, the sound didn't match. One was hissy and the other one wasn't. I had to fix that, and I told Gary, I said, look, we did like 2 takes of that, me doing that line. We should have done 3 takes or 4 takes. If it takes, how long does it take to do a line? 5 seconds, 10 seconds. Let's just do it over and over until you get it right. So we're gonna go back a little smarter after that fiasco. I did a voiceover for somebody not long after we shot that, and I was at their studio in the voiceover booth, and I came out, and the guy was really nice. I said, "Oh boy, a nice person. I'll take advantage of it." So, so I was like, "Hey, you work with sound here a lot, right?" Yeah. So I got these 2 pieces of sound, the voiceover stuff that don't match. Do you think you can make them match? Said, oh yeah, no problem. But I fixed it myself. But I was ready to use it. I'd take any port in a storm, whatever I can get to make it work. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you a question. You said you've done 11 films.
Yeah.
I hadn't realized it had gotten that high because again, you're one of those film series is it's, once you do like X amount of many, you just kind of lose track. It's like when people
Yeah.
say, my favorite series is DS9, but I couldn't tell you how many episodes there are.
Yeah.
It's like, it's tons of, all I know is when I see Dreadnought Dominion, I'm like, oh, okay, I'll watch this one. I'll check it out, So let me ask, out of all of those, what's your favorite scene that you've been in?
Ooh. One of my
what stands out?
Well, I had a lot of fun doing the one that you were in with me, actually, and I get a kick out of watching it. You coming over, and talking to the captain while I'm watching you talk to the captain, and you're like, smoke him if you got him. You did a great job on that. And,
Thank you.
You're a little rough on me. I didn't when I wrote the line, where you're back over on the other side of the room, and you're like, tell him, Stephen. I didn't have the same sort of snark in my mind. You're like, tell him, Stephen.
Well, the thing that was so
fun, I really enjoyed that, and we had a lot of fun shooting it because it was during the open house, and there were, the opposite side of that wall was lined with people coming through looking at the set, and we're like quiet on the set, and there's like 20 people, just visitors over on the other side of the set. That was fun and intimidating, and I'm glad we did it.
Well, that was the thing that was great about the open house. One, you had all these people who had never been there before, and Ray has some beautiful sets. And I'd urge anyone once it's safe, go visit. Check out. Is it Neutral Zone? Is that what it's called now?
Zone,
okay,
yeah.
I know they changed the name, and I'm terrible with names, so I don't want to missay it and then get yelled at later on. But go visit the sets in Georgia. Check them out if you haven't. They're beautiful sets.
Yeah.
I was able to visit once, and it was kind of a bucket list item to go see engineering, because I felt like I was the only engineer in Starfleet that hadn't been in engineering. So for me, that was also a treat, to get to share a scene with you.
Mm-hmm.
You're right, people along those walls. It was kind of intimidating, but the thing I loved about that was they a lot of those people probably had no idea on how films were actually made, so they were watching us like we knew what we were doing. And me, I'm king of saying, dude, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. I'm just chill, like I don't know. So but I loved your dialogue on how you wrote it, and I saw how much fun you and Gary were having, and it's always kind of tongue in cheek. Like it's like Adam West running with the bomb. Like you don't take yourself too seriously.
You just can't get rid of a bomb.
Exactly. So I played it that way because I felt, usually, Menard is always, he's always brooding, or he's grumpy, or he's, mopey. But I was like, he's having fun here. This. How often does he get to poke fun at someone else? So I thought, man, I'm gonna go for gold here. So to me, it was a great time to share a scene with you. So I thank you guys for having me as part of that. That was
thanks for doing it.
Oh, absolutely. So it was a great scene. So so what can you tell us? Spoiler free, of course, I'm sure. But what can you tell us about what you guys have coming up and what you would like to come up in a perfect world?
This weekend we are going down to shoot a short episode. Hopefully it'll be under 50. I think it might be under 15 minutes. We'll see. And you know what we do when we go over 15 minutes, right?
Part one, part two?
Yeah. We just put part one at the beginning, and about halfway through we put part two. And that way, hey, Well, it's two parts. They just happen to be in the same film.
There you go.
Then they can't come to us and say, well, you can't do a part 2. Well, we already have.
There you go.
They can't. Anyway, that was the idea. And some parts we're getting away with it. But let's see, what was I saying? Oh yeah, we're gonna go down this weekend, do a short film 2-day shoot with Frank Parker Jr., who created the series and played Grissom in the first 2 episodes, and Commodore Grissom. And Frank stopped, I guess quit. It's about the only word to call it. He just quit and went and became like a high-ranking officer in the Civil Air Patrol. He had done that. He told me once in the car that he had done that years ago and he missed it. And apparently he wanted to do it again. He couldn't find the time to do both. So he went back to the Civil Air Patrol and left Dreadnought Dominion. And me and Gary picked up the reins and kept going. But now for some reason that he hasn't explained, he's ready to come back and do some more. So we're like, well, how do we bring him back? He asked me, well, if I were to come back, what could I do? And I said, well, I don't know. You're not the captain anymore. You could be an admiral or something and come and give us, come over the screen and give us missions to do or something like that. And he's like, no, I want to do my own show with my own ship. And we're like, great, we'll help you. And this episode is to kind of get him back into the story and back into the mix again. And in this story, we pick him up and give him a lift to from one star base to another or something like that. And while he's there, he talks to our guy named Quincy, who the Q is a clue. He is a member of the Q continuum. He's not the Q, but he is a Q. And he talks to Quincy, and Frank's character, Grissom, has found out that this guy that we've got on our ship has some strange abilities. He doesn't know all the truth yet, but he does know that he has these strange quirks, these abilities, and he hopes that he can find out something from him that will help him heal, to get that final bit of healing from what happened in the incident where we were attacked. And that's about as far as I want to go. But
well, that was one thing when Frank had when I found out Frank was back, my first reaction was like, what? Like I was completely taken aback. I was like, how did this happen? What? I thought he was gone. And then my instant reaction was, oh, what stories are we gonna tell? All right. Like, because I instantly knew. I was like, and then I thought in character, I was like, Menard wouldn't trust this dude. Oh, he'd be like, screw you. Because in my mind, I'm thinking Menard's helped Rousseau, get through this. Menard, and we've told two stories about, this incident that you're referring to of Grissom leaving. And I was like, regular Menard wouldn't trust this dude. So I've discussed and I've written 2 films where there's tension there, with Grissom and Menard.
Yeah.
And then I really was like, I've left it to the point where I'm like, okay, Frank, now we've set this up for Menard and you. Now, however you choose to end it, I'm gonna leave that to you. So if we never end it, I'm good, because I'm. But and then you, me, and Gary, we have a Kelvin Universe film that we decided to include Frank on, and that one, I have to say, I'm excited about that one. Have you filmed your part for that?
Nope. I got the shirt, but I haven't filmed my part. But I figure it's no rush because Gary's wants to do his on his set, which he needs to finish.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
And,
I'm excited about. I'm excited about that. I know it's pretty much but I'm very
wow.
excited.
Yeah, he's
Mm-hmm.
we're all very excited about that. So that's a whole nother spinoff show. And then we got
Oh yeah.
Frank's show,
Mm-hmm.
which we'll be helping him on. You know, I don't know if I have it in me to write whole episodes for him, but if I'll help him write them, I'll edit them and maybe work with him on scripts. But I'll definitely help him edit and different things. You know, chip in where I can to help Frank get his start on his show.
Well, it's like you and I were talking earlier. Like that's the thing that I think works about the fan film community now is when someone wants to do something, we're always there to help each other and support each other out. Like, you need this, we got you. You need this, we got you. You know.
Yeah.
Like that's. I think it's more impossible to to not make a fan film now than make one. If you're dedicated to make one, like it's hard to not make one now, because it's like if you got an idea, it's just go make it, you know. It's just go make it. You know,
they keep pulling me back in.
And that's exactly it. Like as much as I think I've retired like what 3 times, like you know, and I keep coming back. I'm like, dang it, I've got to go tell this story. Or someone's like, hey, I got this idea. What do you think? I'm like, dang it, okay, all right.
You know, with a script and some friends to help, but you know, you knock one out in a few days. At least the production, you know, and then there's the post production.
Right.
Yeah, so it's not a huge deal to make one, really. If you want to,
yeah,
a little time to kill and a script, a story to tell.
Well, and that's the thing. Like I've always told people, like if I ever run out of a CGI artist, I'll hold up like my micro machines and just hold the ship like this. You know, you'll see my hand. I don't care. Like that's how like unprideful I am of stuff now. Like I don't really care, because it's like at what point do you just go, I don't care. I just want to tell a good story. You know, and my friends won't care. They'll enjoy it for what it is. You know, because I mean,
wear a bright green glove.
There you go. Just make sure I'm not holding the front of the ship, you know.
Yeah.
That's
keep your hands behind it, and you're a green glove.
There you go. But so that being said, we know what you've got planned.
Yeah.
What would you like to see personally for your character? Or is he just happy being there on the Dominion?
I think that within 2 or 3 more episodes, I'm going to start laying the groundwork for Denson retiring. And not Randy, just Denson.
Okay.
Randy will be writing and directing and producing and all that. But Denson, I think, you know, he's pushing 70. So, you know, and now here's the thing. We have people all the time on YouTube say, these guys are too old. You know, well, you know, screw you. This is Star Trek. This is 300 years in the future, and we don't discriminate against anybody for anything. You know, if you can move around and do your job, we don't care if you're 140 years old or Vulcan or whatever. You know, so why would they kick somebody out because they turned 68 or 70? You know, no.
Well, it's ironically those same people that sit there and want to complain about, you know, people in fan films being too old to be doing what they're doing. But I think if they were to bring back Admiral McCoy, you know, on Next Gen, they wouldn't have complained. Or, you know, like I don't think anybody complained about Leonard Nimoy coming back for Spock and doing something. Like nobody complained, or even Scotty for that matter. Like you know, just like the fat shaming that people do in fan films. It's like, you know, Scotty was overweight since like Star Trek 4. You know, Kirk was overweight in Star Trek 6. Like, you know, guys, people have weight issues. You know, get a life. It's the characters,
like,
guys.
Hey,
like,
you know, you do a fan film. You think ours is so terrible? Go do a better one.
Well, and that's the thing. Like people, like they think, oh, I'm going to get the hottest person. I'm going to get the well, usually the super duper hot people can't act, or they don't show up to your film, or they want to get paid, or they want, like, you and I do the films made out of love. Like, we don't,
Mhm.
like, we're, the realistic, hey, you want to do this and help out, and that's what a fan film is about. Not like, we're not professional stuff, and that stuff's
Yeah,
just not realistic.
we very seldom ask for auditions.
Yeah.
We don't do auditions. If
Yeah.
I don't know, I have a gut feeling, this person could, at least with a little coaching, give me what I want,
Right.
and if it's not perfect, so what? It's a fan film. It's not supposed to be perfect.
Well, that's on every one of my sets. Like, I hold the script, like right here, and I'll, like, as a director, I'll have, brand new people who've never acted before, never been in any film before. Like, I'll read them their line as I'm holding the camera. I'm like, okay, this is the line, and then go, and then they'll say the line. I'm like, okay, say it like this and go.
Mm-hmm.
And then okay, here's your next line, and go. And that's exactly what I do. It, one,
Yeah.
makes the situation go by fast. Two, it makes them more comfortable with, oh, okay, this is how you want it. It gives me more or less what I want. But it makes everybody more comfortable. And it's a very quick process. But it's one of those things where it's like, realistically, I don't need to have everybody be cardboard cutouts of Calvin Klein models. That's
Yeah.
just not realistic.
We do that sort of with reaction shots. We'll like it on a bridge scene. This guy's got some lines, and we'll put the camera on him, the lights on him, and say, okay, yeah, and everybody else will read their lines, and so he'll get the eye line with the other characters and all, and they'll just read their lines, and this guy will do his lines, and then we'll go to the next person and do their lines, and then we'll pull back and get a large long shot just to establish where everybody is,
Yep.
and then but at the very end of each person's lines, we get reaction shots, just sort of standard reaction shots. Like, okay, now look at the view screen and look surprised. All right, now look over at him and look like, holy crap, I don't believe you just said that. Or just give us some reactions, and those reactions are worth a mint. They're worth gold, because when you're editing, like we'll get a scene of a shot of Frank coming in off the turbo lift, right? Not Frank, Gary coming in off the turbo lift, and then like on the next shot, he's sitting in the captain's chair. Well, did he teleport from the back there at the turbo lift to the captain's chair? No, it takes a couple of seconds. So what we do is we cut away to somebody else looking and watching him walk across, or just a reaction of some sort, just to kind of cover that time between him being here and him being there. And so for filling in things like that, those reaction shots are very important.
Right. Well, I think the one thing I enjoy about your film series is the fact that it doesn't solely focus on just one character. It really does focus on an ensemble cast. A lot of times in fan films, it's, well, I'm the captain, focus on me.
Yeah.
It's my show. But what you guys have accomplished, which not a lot do, is, hey guys, it's a group. And it really does make the captain shine. It makes the ship shine. It makes the series shine. And like the one thing I noticed when I first started talking to Gary, and this was shortly after Frank had left, because Gary was like, I don't really know what to, can you help? And I was like, all right, because I had offered my services. I was talking about, Facebook help, can you want advertisement on Facebook? But he was like, I don't really know what to do. What do you think? And I was like, all right, let's talk. But the one thing, when I'd sat down and watched the series, which you had only had Haunted and Anchors Away, but the one thing that I really loved was the camaraderie. I loved it. I loved, and I always get confused. Is it Don or Dan? What's his real name?
Dan Scanlon plays Don
Dan.
Jones.
Okay. Because we talk frequently, or we talk, fairly often on Facebook from time to time. So I good guy. But I always get those. I'm like, which is his real name? But the one thing I enjoyed your acting, I enjoyed Gary's acting, and I enjoyed his acting. Those are the three main that I was like, I like that, and I liked the camaraderie that you guys had. And the one thing that I feel really shows on screen in your newer productions is I felt like you and him, like you and not you, but Denson and Brousseau, I felt were like best friends. Like you guys were like Kirk and Spock,
Yeah.
without bones. You guys were Kirk and Spock. And every time I see you guys on screen together, like it kind of gives me that warm fuzzy feeling.
Yeah.
Because you guys feel like, it reminds me that you guys would take a bullet for each other because you guys have been through the trenches. Is that just me seeing what I want to see, or is that done intentionally, or is that reflective of your guys' personal life? Or
Well, it's partly trying to keep with the spirit of the original Star Trek, where the action and the what am I trying to say? The conflict is not between the people in the crew. It's between the ship and the crew and somebody else, the bad guy, and then everybody pretty much gets along in the crew. If they don't get along, it's really more or less kidding, like Spock and the Doctor. They were always kind of like rah, 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 at each other. But it was all in good fun. I think it was all with a twinkle in their eye. But yeah, so that's part of it. I just don't want a lot of conflict between the crew members. And then another thing is we do try to kind of mirror our real lives and what's going on in our real lives. But in command, chain of command, where I was talking about Frank, I was talking about Grissom stopping in the middle of a mission. I was really talking about Frank quitting in the middle of post-production on Haunted, and what happened? What did we do wrong? Why did he leave? And not to really be mean or get at Frank or anything, but that's just what I do a lot of times in writing is I'll put little references in there to our real lives. A lot of that in reality check, of course, because we're really talking about what it's like to make a fan film and what it means to us to make a fan film. Yeah, so there's a little of both of those things. It's just part of mimicking real life, our real stories of what's going on in our lives, and partially to keep that same spirit from the original. Now you asked me what's coming up, and I told you about the episode with Frank, but there's another one after that we're filming in February, and I'm really excited about that. It is going to have. We are going to pick up a Soyuz spaceship, a Soyuz capsule that has been floating around in space for 300 years, and revived one of the cosmonaut sickles that's inside. They were flash frozen. So with our technology 300 years from now, we should be able to revive, those cosmonauts. And then what do you do with a cosmonaut that was, in his view, yesterday, he was in a world where the United States and Russia were at each other's throats and on the verge of war, Cold War and all that kind of stuff. And how do you handle that? How does he handle it? And what do you do with him? And all this kind of stuff. And we have two guys playing Russian cosmonauts. And I'll give you a hint. Their names are Sergey and Vlad. So they should be real good at doing those Russian accents. And and we have some really good guest actors coming down for that one. We got like 4 guest actors coming down for that episode, and so we are going to pick up that Soyuz vessel and have some adventures with the cosmonauts and the vessel itself, and some questions about what's the right thing to do. and I'm really looking forward to that one. To shooting it and getting it finished, and released. So there. Now I'm finished with what we got coming up.
Well, right on, man. Well, it sounds like you guys got a lot on the horizon with the cosmonauts, with Grissom coming back, and then the retirement of Denson.
At some point.
Shaky ground, man. Shaky ground. Like some things are coming. So
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we've been here for an hour, so I think I'm going to cut you loose. I appreciate you coming on, my friend. You are always welcome back. I honestly thank you for stopping by and taking the time to talk with me. As always, it's a pleasure to talk with you. Everybody who stopped by to watch, thank you for stopping by. Appreciate it. I have in the description the Dreadnought Dominion page. Check them out. Watch their shows. It's good stuff. I guarantee you won't be disappointed. And if you are, Randy will give you a full refund.
Double their money back.
But no, check them out seriously. Like and subscribe their videos and their page. Seriously, they're good, honest people. They deserve as much support as you can give them. And like I said, they film down at Neutral Zone. At some future point, whenever the COVID passes, support that studio down there. I know Ray would love to visit. He'd love the help. I think in this time, we need to support each other. So, yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. And for next week, I will be having Jason Spriggs, or as you guys know, Raygun Media, or Mr. Raygun, as some people may call him. So, yeah, that's what we'll be doing next week. So, all right, guys, keep on geeking on. Randy, again, thank you very much, and be safe, all right?
All right. You too.
All right, take care, guys.